we're going to close out the show with this clip from the flank. So we're going to be going slightly over an hour. Wow. Could you imagine? I made it all the way to the hour mark. We're going to talk about this clip of Parasite talking about Hydra. Let's play the clip.
All right, I'm gonna tell you now. You want to know whose maturity year it needs to be? It needs to be fucking Paco's, right? Because Paco has had, granted, they could have been warranted, has had problems with two teammates now in Dante and probably Dan. And that is the reason why he's probably not on this team. Paco has a very listen. Paco has a very
Ben. Let
Paco,
do you know that for a fact?
Speak, and then you can
I
go.
might,
but he's throwing out a wild one there. Do you know that for a fact?
I might know some things, but anyways, listen. Paco is a very he's a person that wants to play the game a very certain way, and when people do not agree with him or maybe have differing opinions, you know, it could rub him the wrong way. Paco is a star in his own right, and he's a very smart player. I'm not going to listen, bro. I'm not going to sit there.
Are you saying for a fact that there were issues between Dan and Paco last year?
I'm going to go ahead and say I might know some things, but the point that I'm trying to make here, is
all right. So I just want to talk about that. Back in December, it was like January. It was like December. I'm pretty sure it was like December. In December, I watched a map. It was LA Thieves against Atlanta FaZe, and there was an LA Thieves comm. LA Thieves listening, okay? And there was it was very small, okay? It was very small. I even showed it back on stream like months later. But I showed it back on stream. It was the smallest thing. Nobody would have thought anything of it. But I thought something of it, but I wasn't going to say anything because it was like too early. You're reaching, you're always reaching. So I was like, hey, I'm going to hold on to this. So I recorded it. I kept it in the files. And it was very small. Like, it actually looks like freaking nothing when like you play it back. But it was P4 on Vault Hardpoint. LA Thieves had control. But FaZe was sneaking through Art side, and Envoy, Ghosty, or Scrap, I don't know who, they were telling Paco there's a person in Art. Paco was back spawn, and without going into Art, he said there's nobody there, because he was just assuming if I just stare at the back door of Art, like, we're soaking P4 times, so if they go into Art, they're gonna try to like fly out the back. So he just looked at the door. He said, "No one's there. Stop watching it." And then, like 2 seconds later, somebody saw the guy Art, and it was Ghosty, and he's like, "He's there." Like, he's there, and like I heard the way he said it was very subtle. It's very subtle. I was like, "Huh, interesting." Held on to that one. And then I think it was a couple weeks later or 3 weeks later, they were playing LAG. It was Skyline Hardpoint. It was, I believe, the second rotation or first rotation, a P3 going into P4. So you can go back and watch it. And it's on my Twitter too. I recorded the clip. I literally posted on Twitter. And Hydra and Ghosty are at P3. And there's a guy coming from the cobble side. And Hydra dies to him. And he's like, one shot. Ghosty, granted we're in like CODcast view, so we can't see hit markers. Ghosty proceeds to shoot at this guy. The guy turns on him and he slams him. And Ghosty just yells out, "One shot, man." Like, he's not one shot. Like, and then I get to see Hydra, obviously, during the middle of the game, so he's not going to be like, "Yo, what the," like, but I can see the way he blinks, like he acknowledged what Ghosty said, and like it kind of like tilted him, but he recognizes the middle of the match, can't say anything about it. And those two moments, like 2-3 weeks apart from each other, I was like, there's some sort of animosity between these two, because number one, I've never heard that comm in the history of Call of Duty. Even when people are getting slammed on, I never hear a comm like, "Man, he's not one shot." Like, what are you saying? Like, that, I've never heard that in a comm ever, in a listening. It could happen in a scrim. It could happen when like they're not in the listening, but I've never heard it in a public listening. Okay, never heard it, and I heard it, and I was like, there's some underlying because I just like know, like, just being like a people person, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, like I'm not a therapist. When I see something like that, that just screams to me there's like something going on there, because that just screams like they're probably like annoyed at each other like behind the scenes, and now it's like carrying it on into like a public setting, but it's like without them even knowing that it's actually in a public setting. Like there's something going on there. So that's what I thought. And then near the end of the year, when they started losing champs or whatever, I brought it up on stream. Everyone was like, not really. I think I deleted the YouTube video because I was trying to find it. I think I deleted it because I was like, oh, fuck, I guess I'm tweaking. And then Parasite comes out and says this, and I'm like, oh my God, I was not crazy. I was not crazy. And granted, we can't confirm everything, but, you know, I believe him. He would not just, like, say this publicly on the flank in front of over 8,000 people if there was not truth to it. So, I was right. Okay? I was right. Some people call me a madman. I was fucking right. Okay? I was right. And that's what I wanted to bring up. I knew there was some sort of hidden animosity going on there because I know how, like, Shotzi got checked and, like, Dashy got checked by Ghosty. And I was thinking he's going to go into LA Thieves. And one person on that team who people probably like will not even think, but I think the whole thing with NYSL and Crim really actually highlighted it for me and really kept the back of my noggin, is Hydra. Like, he's obviously like a cool guy, but he strikes me as the type of person, I'm just not sure if he has a grasp of like the full, like, obviously like he speaks English and everything, but I think just his culture is like different. I don't think he interprets like cadences and everything like the same way that we do. Like, he just strikes me as someone that gets offended a lot more easily. And even like D-Real back in the day, babysitting him, always going for bat for him. Skies, the way Skies was with him, always like Skies felt like a babysitter for him. Always made sure like he was like happy type shit. It felt like he's always had like that sort of thing around him. Sender now, I mean, granted he was always there, but the reason why he brought Sender in, I feel like he always has someone around him to like, you know, coddle him a bit, you know, someone that just lets him know everything's actually all right, you know, that type of thing. And he just strikes me as a person that gets like annoyed like really easily, but obviously he's not on any social media, so we're never going to hear anything about it. It's obviously going to be behind the scenes because, you know, if ever went public, like Sky's arguing with Hydra, everyone's going to be like, Hydra's way better than you, shut the fuck up, shitter, you know? So it's like you can't really even go like public with that stuff. But that strikes me as something that's very, very logical, and I actually do believe Haggy for that. I'm actually not going to lie, I actually believe him. I'm not going to lie, I actually super duper believe him.